time for House to Home with your host, Clyde Hawsey, where you'll hear from local people who turn houses into homes all across the inland Northwest, and you'll learn how to do the same. House to Home is brought to you in part by River Ridge Hardware, Avista, and Rada Paint. Now, here's your host, Clyde Hawsey.
Welcome to another edition of House to Home. I'm your host, Clyde Hawsey. Joining me today, Tom Lienhard with Avista, Energy Efficient Engineer. Tom, I'm sure glad you came along. I've been looking and I've been enjoying the nicer weather here now, but I know it's going to get hot. But after this, after summer, comes winter, right? This is just an ongoing circle of events, I can tell.
I don't want to bring it up to you, Clyde, but the days are already getting shorter. So.
Oh, no. I haven't got everything done yet, though. You brought more projects for us to do here, Tom.
Yeah, I brought a bunch of low-cost, no-cost things that we tend to hand out at our energy fairs, but I thought I'd take each one of the items out and talk about them just really quickly, because you can go to any of your hardware stores or big box retail stores and buy these kinds of things and help yourself out at your own house.
Well, you know, folks, we've been doing quite a bit of work with Avista, and you need to be, if you're using Avista or the utility company that would support like Avista does with the conservation of your electrical bill, as Avista has, man, you have energy saving ideas and even some testing that can be done before you even need some of this stuff. Am I correct?
You bet. We're more than happy to help. But like we've discovered when you and I have worked together on different homes and doing audits, a lot of this is already known. A lot of the homeowners know where some of their problems are, and I think I'm going to go over some easy stuff for you today. Hopefully you can get a hold of some of this stuff and do your work. If you'd like to come to one of our energy fairs, you can watch for that. You can also get some of this instruction on myavista.com. Okay,
well, folks, it's time to get your pad. I'm going to bring my pad out, Tom, and I want you to start giving us a list of things. And I know you came in with 2 bags, and this is the first bag full, right?
Right. We got to go whipping through these.
Okay, so let's start out right away, Tom. Okay.
All right. Well, the first item I've got here is indoor rope caulk. So if you happen to have the kind of double-hung windows that are in some of the older houses in the inland Northwest, then this is really good for you in the winter. You just peel this caulk off, and it allows you to stick it in the holes and pull it back out when you want to open that window. So it's just a caulk that allows you to kind of a putty that allows you to put it down in a hole and fill it.
Very flexible.
Yeah, so you can stop all of the infiltration you would have gotten in that.
You can use that around the window frame itself or even by the glass, right?
Yeah, any kind of hole you got, this one will go in and come back out without hurting you.
Ah, very good. Okay. Quite inexpensive is what you also said.
It is. It's great. Now we're on the subject of infiltration.
I thought those were napkins to start with.
Yeah, it looked like at first, but these are foam covers for your outlets and your light switches.
You can see the openings in here for light fixture, and over here the same.
Correct. And so what we do is you pull off the cover of that light switch or that outlet that's on the exterior wall.
Right. There's 2 screws on it usually.
Correct. You just put this over it. What this does is tightens that up so that infiltration or air doesn't come shooting in through there when the wind blows outside.
Very good.
So this is a low-cost treatment. All the stuff I'm showing you in this first batch are going to be less than $15, but they'll pay for themselves in a year if you use them right.
And then you just put the cover back over it. You don't even see that except you don't feel the air coming through.
That's correct.
Okay.
These things are just little child safety caps, but a lot of people don't realize that air does come through the 2 plug holes of their plug-ins too if they're on the wall. So you can just make your house child safe and plug up some of those air holes while you're at it.
That one really works well, and I've had that around my home before, and it does work.
Well, good. This is called V-Seal Weather Strip. And this stuff is really kind of interesting. I'll tear it open here, and we'll just look at it for really quickly.
Okay.
This is for a doorway. So what happens is in your door you have a place that you want to stop the air from coming in. And this V-Seal has stickum on it so that you can stick this to the interior part of your door. And then when your door closes, it stops. You make sure the V is pointed toward the inside. But the door closes on it, and it stops the chance of any air coming past that.
That's a great idea.
I wasn't
aware of that one.
Very low cost, and it's just like a lot of other weather stripping that you might get.
Right, but it's going to last over and over again, and so you don't have to replace it, but just keep an eye on it.
Correct. In the same frame, this isn't maybe for summer, but once we get just the past summer. This is a window insulating kit.
Right.
Really, what it is just a clear film that you can put over the whole window casing on the inside that will allow the infiltration to stop coming in. So if you have single pane windows, for under $10, you can do each of your windows like this. And I just tell people, keep a pair of scissors around if you want, and if you need to get out, all you have to do is cut it, and you can still get out that window. But it will stop a lot of energy loss in the winter.
You actually tighten that up with a hair dryer, right, Tom?
Correct. Yeah, you put this on, then
It's
you hit it
easy
with
to
your
do,
hairdryer.
folks.
It's a lot of fun, and it looks really good after it's done. So it's
Well, you
not
can't even
something-
see it.
Yeah, not something that looks bad.
Yes, and it does work. It's almost like adding another pane of glass, you might say.
Correct.
Almost.
And then what you normally would be looking for, these are LED lamps. So they're now, I think they're somewhere around 50 or 60 cents a piece now if
I
you're
know,
buying them in
yeah.
bulk. So they're not all that expensive. Make sure you get Energy Star lamps, and make sure that they're rated to dim if you want to put them on a dimmable circuit.
Right.
But these will really save you a lot of energy if you have lamps that aren't that are still incandescent.
Now, don't put that down yet, folks. I have one of the other items, Tom, that you didn't mention is the LED can lights. A lot of homes have can lights. In our home was built in the 90s, but can lights were a big item, and they use a lot of juice. And they've got these new ones that are LED. Or did you bring some with you? Because I told you he brought 2 bags of stuff. Oh, here he is. Okay.
Because you did that, I'll tell you. Now,
Okay, tell us now.
These guys are. This is a special one because it actually has an adjustable capability for you to turn that
Inside of it.
Yeah. So if it's on an angled ceiling, you can turn it
Right.
down so it'll go down. But this is a retrofit kit for a can light, and it's amazing how much more light these put out than
yeah.
what you get if you put a lamp inside of those cans. And so these are now, I think they're down to about $8 or $9 a piece
Very
if you
much.
buy them in multi-kits
Yes.
from the hardware stores.
Well, let me say this, Tom. They are the best throughout our whole home. We've changed everything. In fact, even at the office, we changed it all. We spent a lot of money. This was years ago, and I'm saying 2-3 years ago. And I'd be honest with you, I think it's already saved it already. And the lights, they never do burn out. I mean, they're going to, I know, but it's nothing like it used to be.
No, and I really want to point out that this is one of the items that, it saves energy and it pays for itself.
Right.
But it's so much better light than we used to get out of those cans. So I think that's really
Yeah.
the thing that...
Sorry to have you dip in your other bucket there, but that is an important part.
It's okay. Here's a really interesting thing. We get these to give away to people and it's a humidistat and a thermometer. And so what we want to start people to understand is that we're kind of a dry climate when it comes to winter.
Right.
And so if you can keep your humidity up in the house, you can keep your temperature down lower and still feel comfortable. It's the same concept really as wind chill. And so in the winter, if you would not maybe leave a door open if you can do that while you're taking a shower and let that shower moisture come into your home,
Right.
and you're keeping yourself between 38 and 40% relative humidity, you will feel warmer in that house than if you let that humidity drop down.
Because
to
the
10.
air becomes heavier, right?
It was actually because the contact of humid air with your skin allows you to feel the temperature better than dry air contacting your skin.
Okay.
So I think, I'm a kind of scientist that isn't the kind that talks about human reaction to things, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm wrong.
If you come to our home, my wife is saying she's always cool, or she's either warm in the summertime. So we're trying to still find, after all these years of being married, what is the ideal temperature anymore?
Yeah, for $5 or $10, you can buy a humidistat, and you can find out
Right.
what the humidity is in your house, and maybe you could add a little bit, and that would help you out.
That's a great idea.
And then last thing I brought here with this low-cost stuff was Smart Strip. And we talked about this
Yep.
in another show that we did, but this is just a Smart Strip, and you can use them either with computers or
Can you pull that out of there, Tom?
Sure.
Because I really think it shows well, and it shows better than what... I know last time you had a problem getting that out of there, but have you got it figured out yet? There you go. There you go, Tom.
You can make me do whatever you want, Clyde.
Not a problem.
Okay, so what this is, how this works is, let's say I'm using it on my TV and my
Right.
video system. So I would plug the TV into the control outlet here. And what the control outlet does is watches for the amount of power to drop on this outlet, and then it controls the ones that are in the green. And so if this drops, then it'll turn off my amplifier for the stereo
Right.
and all the other things that I don't want if my TV's not on. But I can leave the cable plugged in or the DVR plugged
The
in.
recorder.
And those two in the red will stay on even though these guys have gone off. And amazingly enough, there's some serious energy that can be used by your amplifiers and other
Right.
things that are on. And so this is a really inexpensive way to save some of that energy.
Now, this is definitely what you call the smart strip, and it's going to control that. And now, when I'm doing that, is it also a surge protector also or not?
Yeah, these are almost...
Okay, that's what I was trying to get at.
They almost always have to be a surge protector as well because many people are using them instead of...
Right, that's what I was pointing out.
Correct.
So that is a great idea, and I like that because, again, it can be utilized, and it says what it does. It's a smart strip to figure out where the power is all going. Okay.
I guess finally, Clyde, I'd say that online we have this energy use guide that's available to anybody who wants to come on my Avista.com and get it. And it's in a digital format. But this guide will tell you what different appliances take in your home and how they affect your energy use. And so it's got all kinds of things about what should be the use of certain appliances. So if you're concerned, you can get one of these and it'll start working with.
Now, I hope on the next segment here of this, after we would come back after the break, an adjustable thermostat that'll do it digitally and control. I mean, that's a big item in
Sure.
my eyes.
And when we come back, I'll also show you a device that we can use to measure any device you have in your home. And
Really?
Avista has given these out to some of the local libraries, so you can check with your library to see if you could check it out just like a book.
Well, you know, folks, what we've seen here is that a lot of ideas that can be used, or I call them tricks of the trade, which there is much of a trade except for paying your utility bills, and it's not your issue, it's the issue of you and I. We need to watch where we're spending our money and how we can actually save that energy and save those dollars and cents. So these ideas can be used continuously, and they're very inexpensive is what we're saying. These are all within under what, $10, $15 except for the smart strip, are they?
Well, even we buy the smart strips, so many of them that we get those for under 15. So you should shop around and make sure you're getting
Okay.
a good deal even on a smart strip.
So, you know, saving $15 here and there along with the utility bills is all part of this complete program. And Avista is really setting the lead on this. And you and I have been doing some television shows that people are going to be seeing. And we'll actually show you how you can have your home audited and how you can begin to identify really what is taking place. I get a kick out of it. If you watch your animals, they're going to kind of tell you where there's a cold spot within your home. Am I right, in the wintertime?
You're absolutely right. And your kids and your animals can tell you where they're uncomfortable. If nobody goes to a place in your house, that might be the one place you need to start working on for the winter to try to insulate better and get it better.
So that's also another cheap trick, you might say. Watch your animals, begin to identify that, and then begin to identify how you can begin to utilize these particular items here that will help you save money, and they're going to pay you a return within a year easily in many cases.
Yeah, all these small things really will, when used correctly.
When you're used correctly. A couple of things that I wanted to touch on before we take a break here and have people start thinking about the type of heat that they have. Electric heat, forced air heat, of gas, and so forth. Now is the time of the year to be looking at your past winter bills and beginning to adjust these and beginning to utilize some of these items here. I think that is what we're kind of saying also, right?
That's very true. The other thing is that now's the time of year to do maintenance if anything needs to be done on these devices. So it's a good time to shut down your furnace to clean it if you need to clean the ductwork, or to change your filter, or to make sure that if you have a heat pump that the refrigerant levels are the right level so that you're not paying too much money.
Well, the other thing, folks, is that what we're kind of saying, and we've been through this on a few of our other shows we've been doing, is that we've been looking at the complete heating system and counting your vents and seeing how they're controlled. Are they wide open? Or do we have it in an empty room that doesn't need to be cool, it doesn't need to be warm? Then we can back that off. We can put more of that warm heat into. But if you have baseboard heaters, again, just cleaning those up, right? Turn off the power, vacuum up the dust. Am I correct on that?
Well, the beauty about a electric resistance heater is it's going to put out the same amount of heat no matter what you do to it.
Right.
But really, it doesn't hurt to make sure that you're maintaining everything.
Well, and so that's why we wanted to come here today and with the program showing us some inexpensive ways that's going to affect your bill in a big way, and that's what we're all looking at here right now. So, Tom, let's go ahead and take a break. We're going to come back. You're going to have to grab the rest of the stuff in your other bag and bring it back, that you can also do if you have a new home that you're building or you have a home that you want to adjust beyond these particular levels. So for right now, Tom, let's take a break. Come back to you, folks. We'll see you soon on House to Home.
This is River Ridge Frame Shop, called Frame It Today, where we can take your art, customize it, and get it ready to hang on the wall. Here at River Ridge Hardware, 2803 West Garland.
To help you be safe, Washington state law requires you to call 811 2 full business days before you plan, for example, to dig, drill, plow, pull from, or pound anything into the ground. Be prepared to provide the operator with the correct address, cross street, and the description of your work. You must mark the dig area with white paint. The operator will inform you of the utilities notified of your impending excavation. Wait for all their marks. Be safe and dig with care.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Welcome back to House to Home. I'm Clyde Hosey, and I'm sure glad you joined us here. It's a warmer day outside, and Tom Lienhard from Avista is here, energy efficient engineer. He has so many great ideas. In the first half, we were talking about some very inexpensive little tricks that could be used, and I see you brought some prettier boxes here now.
Yeah.
But they all work.
Yeah. When they're more expensive, they put them in prettier boxes.
Oh, yeah, I know. You got to buy the box, right? Tom, and I forgot, you forgot to bring back up that can light. I want you to bring that one up because we want to touch on that again, because I think that is so important that we bring that up. Fill us in. What do we need here? What are we looking at?
Well, once you've started taking care of your home and you maybe have everything fixed up, you think, as much as you can, then it's a good idea to start looking at the next step you could take.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have a forced air system of any kind, it's always good to put in some kind of a smart thermostat. This particular thermostat here is the Ecobee 4. It's a thermostat that has Alexa built into it. It has, so you can talk to it. You can ask it to set the temperature the way you want it to be.
Right.
It also comes with an auxiliary sensor. So if you have 2 floors and your basement always stays really cool and your upstairs stays, you can put the other sensor in the basement, and you can say, I want to run the fan 45% of the time so that I will move the cool from my basement up to the upstairs, and it will keep the temperatures more closely aligned between these 2 sensors. Or if you're...
It'll take care of you.
Yeah, or if your thermostat is in the wrong place, which happens a lot, you can simply put the sensor in the right place and tell the thermostat, controlled by where that sensor is, don't control by this thermostat.
Okay, I have a question for you now, Tom. I have a similar one as this one, but the one I have has a clear shield on the front side with all the little figures on it, which a lot of ours do. And it is across from the front entry at the front door, and it reflects the image of all this stuff onto the glass, and it's goofing it up. Why do they always put the thermostats by the front door?
I don't know. You're lucky. In my last house, they actually put it in our great room across from two of the biggest windows that ever were in.
Then you understand my point.
Right. So then what happens is that anytime the sun shines, that thing thinks it's 80 degrees in the
Yes.
house, and it's not 80 degrees
Yes,
in the house.
exactly. Folks, what I'm trying to say is that if you're building a new home or you're going to be putting in a new system, identify and ask questions. Where do you think we should maybe relocate if we're having some challenges? Or where shall we locate this thermostat? Because I think that's real important, don't you?
Yeah, and I think it's a good point that you just brought up. This particular thermostat can go in any kind of a home, a good one that's in the right location
Right,
or whatever.
right.
But there are some other really good smart thermostats like the Nest. And the Nest is excellent when it goes in a location that's an excellent location for it to read. Maybe single level rancher, those do great at saving energy for you. But you should do your own homework to find out which of these are going to be most beneficial for me to put in.
Or here again, go to our animals and identify where do they enjoy cozying down, in the living room or in the dining room or in the entry. You know, where are these rooms? Because they're going to tell you where the temperatures are at the floor level pretty consistent. Am I right?
That's true. The other beauty about these kind of devices is that I can go online and look at when my now I have a gas furnace, but when my gas furnace and air conditioner comes on anytime, it tells me how long it stayed on before it shut off. It tells me everything that I need to know. It tells me the percent of time of a day that it was running. So I can start to make decisions about whether or not I need to fix the insulation or some other part of my house, because it's giving me an idea of what's going on with that
It's
device.
beginning to tell you is what you're saying.
Correct.
Okay. This particular thermostat, again, what are you looking at? What,
Price-wise?
Yeah, $300-$400.
No,
probably?
actually, I bought this for $199.
Really?
Yeah, so that's the other thing. Today, it's best for you to find the thermostat you want, whether it's an Ecobee 4 or a Nest, whatever the newest version of the Nest is, and then look and see where you can buy that the least expensively, because it could be at a local hardware store or someplace,
Exactly.
but it might be online. And if it's a difference between $50, then that's something that you might be able to do it if it's $50 less. Now, we give a $70 incentive for this from Avista for a connected smart thermostat. If a dealer puts it in, and I think a $50 incentive if you do it. It's online at
It's
myavista.com.
Okay.
But if you do put one in, then we will have a small rebate to help you with that as well.
Well, you know, that's my point that I wanted to bring out, is like changing your can lights and changing your thermostat. All of these things will add up to your bill, bottom line, but even Avista in some cases will even participate in helping you do that. And they're going to give you some insight on that, right?
Yeah, and it's our intent to attempt to give you control over how much you're using energy. So that's really what it's all about.
Well, as I keep on coming back to, everybody says, well, that darn utility company and that darn utility company is always charging me so much money. You know what? It's not their issue. It's your issue that you need to deal with and how you handle it. So that's why we've been taking the time to explain this to everybody. What else do you have sitting over there?
Well, okay, I brought an extra, I think you might be able to see this on the regular one. Oh, here we go.
There you go. Beautiful.
This is another device. It's a smart strip plug device, but it has a few more smarts in it than what the last one that we showed you was. It
Okay.
costs a little bit more, but this is a video unit where you plug this in and then you plug this device in, and it watches your infrared off of your TV controllers or any other controller you have. And so you can set this to say, if I haven't made a change to my TV in an hour, shut it off, or 3 hours, or
Right.
I think 3 hours is as long as it can go. So if you fall asleep in front of the TV and you haven't done anything to it, it'll just shut the whole TV and everything else off at the end of that time, because it knows you haven't been moving around.
Again, you're saving some electricity
Well,
and power,
yeah,
right?
there
Some
are
energy.
quite a few people who find out that their children or other people
Right.
have left their entertainment systems on quite a bit.
Right.
And I think the big savings here is if you have a child that may use their TV along with a gaming console, those gaming consoles can use a lot of energy.
yeah.
So all this does is make sure that they're there using it to be able to do that work.
Now I have a question. For me, the older person, are they pretty easy to understand and use, you think, in some cases? Within reason?
Yeah, I think they're
Or
within
do we need our
reason.
12-year-old grandson?
Well, it sound like a commercial that I've been seeing. I'm not sure. We don't put these things out. Smart strips are really easy to use, the
Right.
lower
Right.
level ones.
But look at this and see if it'll work
Yeah,
for
so
you.
if you need something special, this is when you're starting to do more research. When you say,
Right.
oh, you know what, I have a bigger problem that I want to solve, because these will cost a little bit more to do it.
But again, they're gonna pay you back in return by the savings that they're gonna allow to happen.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you use them the way you want it.
Right. Well, Tom, and this is, I started the conversation with the can light, and I'm back to it again. If you have the old-fashioned can lights, consider changing them
Right.
to LEDs.
These retrofit kits are so wonderful, and they put
they're
all
easy.
of they put all the light out into your home, so you get the advantage of it. I have one final thing for you.
Uh-oh.
This is what I told you I might show you. If we give these out to the local libraries, and so you can check them out like a book, I hope. If you can't, let us know, and we'll restock them in the libraries. This is called a kilowatt easy, and how this works is that you plug it into the wall, and then you plug a device into it, and
Right.
it'll tell you how much energy that device is using. So if you're concerned about how much stuff uses, you can just plug it in here, and you can read what it does. Now, when you get these from the library, you can go online and look up this model, and it'll tell you all the things you can do. There's settings in here so you can put in how much you pay for energy,
Right.
and it'll tell you how much this thing would use in a year if you kept it up for a year, what that would be for you. The couple things I do want to say, though, is don't put it on your refrigerator and leave it. If you want to check your refrigerator, that's fine, but we don't like to see anybody putting anything between their refrigerator and the power that
Right.
could fail and cost them any kind of money because of losses. So I would do an instantaneous read on anything that's like that. But otherwise,
TV,
what's that?
TV, computers?
Yeah,
all-
anything that plugs in like this, you can use it to find out how much energy it takes.
And what is it called again?
This particular one is called a kilowatt, a watt.
Okay.
And there are a couple other brands as well. And these are, I want to say, you can buy one for yourself if you want to keep one around for about $25 to $30 online.
Wow.
You can get one of these yourself. But we've tried to make it so you wouldn't have to by making them available at the libraries.
So check in your local library for kilowatt.
Correct.
That was an easy one. Okay, with everything being said, Tom, we've been talking about ideas that you can do within your home, and we just got a few minutes, if you wouldn't mind, Tom. I brought things along with me that if you're putting in a new furnace and you just finished building a new home, ask for certain things from your contractor, and I'm referring to the sheet that tells you what your product is going to be. That is so important. The other thing is, Tom was telling you a little bit about, and again, we just ran out of time very well. You can go online even with Avista, and this is Inland Power I'm on, and you can begin to identify and see your heat bills and how they've changed and how they've, with the weather condition. You have to become educated to understand these things, right, Tom?
That's correct. And in Washington right now, we're installing all meters that are that have more data capable to us. And so as those get in place, you'll be able to go online and see when you have bigger spikes and not. So that's going to be really good for you. In fact, after you've had one for 6 or 8 months, we'll also be able to warn you where you're at in a month, even when you're only halfway through the month, what it looks like it might be your full
Compared.
month bill
Yeah.
if you keep going that way.
Well, folks, that's one of the things that we do here on House to Home, and thanks to Avista and Tom, you've done a great job. We could continue on talking with many other topics along the line, but understand your utility bill, understand when it's warm and cold, understand what you can do. You are in control. The power is not, but you are. So turn off those lights, do the simple little items that we talked about here today. And Tom, I can't say enough good things. You've done a great job. We look forward to next time when we can see you on House to Home, and Avista's going to join us again. And thank you very, very much, Tom.
Thank you, Clyde.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. House to Home is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksMedia.com, which is solely responsible for its content. House to Home is sponsored in part by our friends at Rada Paint, River Ridge Hardware, and Avista. Ask Clyde a question, recommend a guest, or hear this program again on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com.